You guys, it's the holiday season, and I can't think of a better way to celebrate than to spend 4 hours. I'm just assuming this is going to be, I'm done with predicting how long these are going to go. I would love to say an hour and a half and 2 hours. And I know that would just be lying to you guys, lying to myself. But we want to celebrate the holidays and the changing of the seasons and the flowers and the pumpkin spice BS everybody's all into. And I'm sure our guest, my co-host, is all into this as well. We're going to find out her stories with pumpkin spice lattes, but we're also going to recap, I think, what is a classic movie, which I got to tell you right off the bat, not sure why it's classic. And I know that's going to upset a lot of people, even though I have very strong memories of it. We're going to be covering You've Got Mail today, the 1998 classic. And of course, with me as always, from Adderall and Compliments, the one and only Annabelle. This is only going to take 2 hours, Desisto. Welcome, Annabelle.
Oh my God. Boner Jams 152. I am so excited to do this with you.
Wait, okay, that's good. What was because this is why this movie is kind of funny, because everybody convinces itself it's like a celebration of fall and like kind of this romantic New York thing, but it's also the invention of the internet and AOL. And when we used to be in chat rooms, what was your chat name?
My very first screen name was Pony Bell 417 at AOL.
You cut out. You cut out. What was that? Pony what?
Pony Bell 417 at AOL.com.
What did 417 mean?
It's my birthday.
Oh. Did you have a pony named Belle?
No, I was just like a huge fan of the Genuine song, and I just really loved it.
Well, it's funny though, because you do work with horses.
No, I had a pony, and then Belle is the last part of my name, and then 417 is my birthday. It was like it's like really, like I told you the last episode, it's too like cerebral for you to understand.
Did you say cerebral? You mean cerebral?
I mean cerebral, but last time on the last episode on the ring.
Wait, Annabelle, pause. We just had a 10-minute interruption where we couldn't hear each other. And then we came back and Annabelle says her computer feels like it's on fire. And then she was trying to compare it to an Adam Levine lyric. And then, but I said, we got to record this because this is exactly the kind of heat that Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks felt when they fired up their AOL chat room on You've Got Mail from 1998. We just covered that Annabelle's name was Horse Pony 417 or something.
It's Pony Bell.
I'm sorry, Pony Bell. But at least you had imagination. Mine was Ryan Bailey 25. Like there's no imagination in that at all.
You've just like really always loved your name.
No, I just have no imagination in certain ways. I'm like, why would everybody was so proud of their damn names on these, like, and also why do
you seem very proud of your damn name, being that it is in almost everything that you do.
Wow, that sounds like jealousy.
I mean, it's
coming
so
out.
bad. It's so bad, Ryan Bailey.
Well, you're using your
so
name.
Bad, it's good.
Your name Adderall. Your name's Adderall, and you use that all the time. So I guess the obvious place to start would be, did you ever see this movie, Annabelle? Because we've done like 30 of these movie recaps, and you've pretty much never seen any of the movies, usually, except if it's like Coyote Ugly or something. Have you ever seen You've Got Mail? Oh no, you're frozen completely. Oh no, you're frozen completely. Fuck. Annabelle, have you seen You've Got Mail before? This.
Yeah. I have seen, I feel like that this is, well, what my generation watched like a lot growing up. But like I normally saw it on like TBS or like TNT when they would play it during the day, and it would be like a 5 hour. It would be like listening to our episodes of Dewey review.
By the way, If you harken back to those days where you would be hungover on a couch watching TNT and you would watch a 2-hour movie that wound up 5 hours with commercials, that is like listening to one of our podcasts, but you didn't see this in a movie theater.
No. Did you see this when it became a talkie?
Shut up. Yeah. Well, no, that's a good point that you, what the fuck just happened?
Ryan, if you didn't want to do this recording, you could have just told me instead of like, I feel like this is you holding up like a gum wrapper to the phone being like, shh, this is really bad reception.
Can you imagine? Could you imagine if this is how I like to
spend
that
I didn't volunteer when I saw my Patreon email of like asking for volunteers?
Yeah. What the fuck is that? Ryan, cut all this out.
Volunteering sounds like helping. And that's not my, that's okay. My vibe.
Okay. So You've Got Mail used to be a movie called in like the 1950s called The Shop Around the Corner. This is a remake, and they added the invention of the internet as the cute little new thing in this. So this was at the advent of AOL chat rooms. And that's why I always find it really funny when I go back and watch this movie, because it was so like this romantic notion when in reality, like 15-year-old girls are talking to like 60-year-old creepo men, Oh no, you just disappeared. What the fuck? You're not even in the frame anymore.
Okay, well that I walked.
Dude, you just disappeared and then like all of a sudden you were frozen and then you pop back up and there was no you. That looked like The Ring.
I did a Neil Patrick Harris. I've been practicing my magic tricks.
Dude, what the hell? I'm so confused at what's going on right now.
It's like we are being very method. We're doing Daniel Day-Lewis podcasting. We are doing this on AOL, which is why it's such a horrible service. I don't know why it's doing this.
I don't either. I guess let's try to do it without video and see if that's any better.
No, I can't do it without video.
I don't know.
I only do this to see your face.
No, I just don't know how to make this work where we're not stopping every 2 minutes to. And because by the way, I even have props. Oh wait, why is this blurry?
I know. Is it nudity? Why is it? It's like professionally blurred out.
I wonder why. Does Zoom do that with like? Always display, hide self. How the fuck does this? Does that make it come in any better?
Are you holding up a headshot of yourself? Oh, okay. Now I can see it. Did you get this painted at like a fair?
No, it's like one of my favorite pop culture artists, Brandon Bird. And like, for some reason, like I love Tom Hanks's double chin.
Oh, now this is so.
This is him talking. This is him like what his whole movie where he's just like typing on the keyboard and he's like da 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 da.
Oh, this is so embarrassing. I feel like so unprepared. If I knew that we were doing that, I would have taken my portrait out of Chet Hanks that I have, but I haven't unpacked it since moving.
That's, by the way, Tom Hanks. I adore Tom Hanks. But you realize, just like Kim Kardashian has to deal with Kanye West, you think she has a perfect life, but she has to deal with Kanye West. Tom Hanks has to deal with Chet Hanks. That's his son. Okay, so basically, this is a creepy movie in some ways because it's like the advent of internet strangers talking to each other and falling in love. And it's also the advent of catfishing. But they make it a romantic way to catfish in this movie.
Yeah, this might be, or I mean, you can tell me, and I know if this was around in black and white, but like, was this the first like catfishing of like in a movie? Like, I feel like, was this like our first like catfish, like rom-com that I can like remember?
There's always been mistaken identity movies, but never, I think, with an internet twist. Remember like the first movie, I don't know if you remember The Net with Sandra Bullock, and it was all about like, she was a hacker, but it was like, if you watch it now, it's like, it's like, oh, I typed in 5 letters and I just hacked into the government. Like, so it's ridiculous. So I think this movie is it's all like artifice. Like it all looks beautiful. And I think it rides on that wave of Sleepless in Seattle because that movie genuinely got me. Like
I've never seen it and I never plan to.
What? Why would you be like that?
I just feel like if I haven't seen it by now, like that time is past. Like
it's
like,
not past.
Running around with like a floppy haired kid, and then like they only get together at the. It involves like the Empire.
It's so romantic. Okay, Sleepless in Seattle is possibly one of the most romantic films ever. I actually believe in Sleepless in Seattle. So it rides on the wave of this because their first movie, Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks did together, was a movie called Joe versus the Volcano. And that movie,
3 characters, right? Isn't she like 3 different characters?
Yeah. And that movie is kind of weird, but Sleepless in Seattle, also directed by Nora Ephron, hit it out of the park. And Meg Ryan was also one of the most romantic female leads of all time because she did a near perfect movie called When Harry Met Sally, which you have not seen either.
No, I absolutely watched that movie to support my favorite actress, which is Rob Reiner's mother.
I was like, oh wow, I wasn't aware Jamie Kennedy was in When Harry Met Sally. Yeah. And also, you say some weird floppy-haired kid in Sleepless in Seattle. You know, kids just have hair. Like that's not a bad.
It doesn't have to be floppy.
Oh, but I'm saying you acted like I'm not going to watch some floppy-haired kid. Like if you had a cooler haircut, you would have been.
Sorry, I know that's probably not okay to say anymore. But yeah, floppy hair. I'll just say it. I don't like floppy haired little boy. I don't know. It's hard for me to watch.
Whoa. Ryan, pull that as a pull quote. I don't like floppy haired little boys. What kind of little boys do you like, Annabelle? By the way, wait. In an AOL chat room, what kind of little boys would you like to chat with?
All of them. Ones who's guardians
Hey kids, have you ever seen a grown nipple before?
Have you ever seen a nipple with grown hair? Because you're about to.
Oh, wait. There was one. Okay, this is a private story, but we usually get into private stories. In between that 7-year relationship I had for high school, college, like there was like a handful of women that I dated, but one was from Ohio and it was like a random meetup. And then she came out the way out to Arizona, like when I was doing a theater play, and she took her top off. And she had a long hair, like a long chest, like a long chest hair.
Like in the middle or like on like the
in the middle? No, in the middle.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's weird. Okay. I was gonna say, I'm like,
but you know what I'm saying?
To have, like,
but by the way, no. And
okay.
I wasn't like, oh, put your top back on or anything like that. This was at my parents' house. Because I was staying with them at the time. This is probably not going to make the show, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It was just so weird.
Of just like one like straight,
just one stray strand, and I was almost like, is this like a good luck charm for her? Because you would think you would put, because like sometimes now I'll like touch my ear and there will be an ear hair and I'll pull it. Like I'll be like, I want that out of my ear.
There will be like with like I feel like, and certainly for me, it was so like a bunch of like. The baddies know it's like you will feel like you really do a great job shaving your legs, and then like you'll be like sitting on the couch and you'll look down and I'm like, I will have like a Robin Williams like arm hair length hair where I was just like, clearly this has been growing for a while. Like this has chia petted for a while and I don't know how I've like missed it all of this time.
Okay, dude. Okay. Do you remember? This is so bad, you guys. I'm so sorry. So bad, it's good. I remember, so going into like, I think it was 9th grade, we'd moved to Arizona. And I remember this girl, Lauren, that like we hung out with a bunch of people. I remember one time she was wearing short shorts and you saw like pubic hair on the side that was like growing out of the jeans. And like, as a kid, I was like, I didn't know. I was like, whoa, like, it was like, it, and I'm not talking like erotic or anything like that. It was just like you could see it growing out of like not attached to the jean shorts.
Like that, or she was like,
or it was just. But I remember that specifically, and then I remember thinking like, oh, that's cool. Like I wasn't like judgmental about it
Oh,
because
you
I
like
was
were like Harry Hamlin. You're like, yes, I love it. More but
it's like that's beautiful. Hey, that's beautiful. Wait, no. I just those things that you're like as a kid you've never seen before, and I remember that vividly being something I'd never seen before, and like it wasn't. It wasn't a sexual thing. It
no, but
reminds me.
that's that's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot. It is a lot. Happy Thanksgiving, you guys. Uh, by the way,
No, but it's like I'll look like in the mirror of like the fucking like magnifying mirror, which is like horrifying. But it's like I will have like I will think I like have done like my chin, have like done my mustache, everything, like because like I'm Sicilian, so like I have like I was the first kid in school with like a mustache, so I can get like 90s boy band facial hair if I do not keep up with this. Like if I can't let it go 2 days or else
so
it is.
you started the mustache craze that is so popular right now.
Mhm.
That's where you had inspired me to grow a mustache because you had shown me some pictures of you from middle school, and I was like, "Wow, it looks so cool on you." And
that's what
it
they
was like,
modeled the mustaches on the
yeah,
lip cars when they first started.
yeah. It's
After
like,
me.
wow, look at that mustache, what lip carpet on there.
But I'll like have like one really like no, Lauren was the Lauren was the bush was the
Yeah, it was the puke.
okay.
It wasn't a but it was just like you could tell that there was hair growing in that area, and I always just thought it was just I don't even know why I brought that up.
That
Really.
like the one like Rapunzel hair in the
Yeah,
like
well, because that one girl, then I was like, well, I mean, just don't like, do I tie a knot with this? Like, what do you do with this? And is it a
how long was it?
I would say like this. It was lengthy.
Oh, okay. Lengthy. So like not like okay, because like I get when I have like a like facial hair.
No, it was long enough where I was like, you're like, oh, I wonder why she hasn't done something about that. Like maybe, like, and then I was thinking about like in your head, because my head's so weird. I was thinking like, oh, what if I pulled on it? It was like a magician's like trick where it just kept going and going and going and going and going and going. We actually didn't wind up together, shockingly enough. But no.
Probably I can imagine like she went back to her friends and was like, oh my God,
this guy.
I like thought I liked him. I had to go out and see his like terrible play. And then he took off his shirt and his chest hair is so weird.
Dude, wait. By the way, with me, there's no taking off of the shirt. I wear a shirt in the shower. Like there is no like I've seen other I've seen other people naked more than I've seen myself. Like, I swear to God, I do not look in a mirror when I come out of the shower. Like, I will avoid mirrors. Like, even if I'm in a public restroom, I will like look down when I'm washing my hands. I will not look at myself.
That's ridiculous, Ryan. Nobody believes you wash your hands.
Yeah. You know what? I will say this whole pandemic thing kind of guilted me into washing my hands. Like, it was like, my mom always told me to do it, but this pandemic thing really
I feel like that's that like washing your hands. Like obviously, I know it's like something you're supposed to do, and like that sign in the bathroom, it's like employees like must wash their hands. I'm like, fuck that. I don't work here. It sounds like more of a them problem. And I'm like, no, I have my little. I had my little Bath and Body Works like little glitter hand sanitizer gel, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna use that. Like I think washing your hands, honestly, at most public restrooms, is a worse idea than just going out.
I mean, that is the thing, because I always like will be
the
like,
counter's always fucking wet. There's just no, thank you. I'll let these windows think I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna see you again potentially. So in terms of romance,
I just have to. No, I just have 5 more questions about the hair. So wait, your first screen name was the Ryan Bailey. I heard
25.
Ryan Bailey.
Ryan Bailey 25.
What was your second one?
I don't think I had a second one. The only thing I can remember about the AOL chat rooms and stuff like that, there was like 2 stories I wanted to tell you about my experience in those early days. Was that one, I I remember me and my friend Susie started like a fake screen one, and we would go into AOL chat rooms. And I think I've told this story in the pod before, but we would go into Titanic role-playing rooms on AOL chat boards. But we would screw it up, and we'd be like, Fabrizio, you just farted on me. And they're like, if you're not taking it serious, you're out of this chat room. And be like, hold me forever, Jack, hold me forever. And we would like really, there would be the old internet with AOL. You could have like go into these fantasy chat rooms where they would be like role-playing Titanic characters and stuff like that. Like that's one memory.
Oh, I just remember going into which ironically later for my third AOL email address, I would show what a hypocrite I was. But I was like first a very big Backstreet Boys fan. So I would go into the NSYNC chat rooms, and then I would just like bomb those chat rooms and then leave and keep coming in and out. And I'm like, insect boo. And then like they'd be like
Joey, more like Joey Fat One, Chris Kirkpatrick. Wait, how could you by the way, I'm sorry, but NSYNC was a way better band than Backstreet Boys.
When I finally came to my senses, that's why my third AOL address was insane, spelled NSANE, number 4 NSYNC 417.
And also that could have played off your extreme love of Insane Clown Posse as well. But wait. So you turned on the Backstreet Boys at one point? You loved them, and then you turned on them and went to NSYNC? So you're like a fair weather fucking fan.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I will fucking jump ship and jump it. I should have been in that Titanic. And then they're like, this girl just writes that she just keeps jumping. She's just suicidal.
Oh, you probably looked up to Kate Winslet when she was hogging that fucking door at the end of like, never let go, Jack. Oh, I'm just going to take a nap on this huge door while you hold on to this side.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay,
You're
like what, you can get some teeth whitening strips, and I'll go ahead and hold on to this door. I love Kate Winslet now, but we can all like, let's just
wait. Like, you've seen Titanic, right? That's something you've seen.
Yes, that is something.
Okay,
I saw that. No, I saw that in the theaters, and I remember Nancy like when they have sex in like the car, which is like not even like sexy, like it's like them kissing, and then she put like, then you have like the sweaty hand like on the but I remember like Nancy like putting her hand over my eyes. That was so like, I just like I have no idea, like looking back and I'm like, oh, Nancy, really? Where it's like Braveheart was my favorite movie, where it's like they have not like sex, but like they're like naked in the pond, like when they have.
Wait, I am so confused by your movie taste. Like, wait a sec, are you telling me you watched Braveheart?
Braveheart, oh my God, I think I've told you, like Braveheart used to be. Now, obviously, I was obsessed with Mel Gibson. I couldn't see into the future that he was.
You know how I feel about Jews. I love Mel Gibson. What a brave man. Yeah.
So my favorite movie for whatever age you are in second grade was Braveheart. And my parents were called from my Montessori school, because I was like in Montessori school till like third grade, and then I went to like public.
Oh, is that what they called the special bus for you? The Montessori
school?
It's
like Montessori, and I'm like, oh, it's Italian. It's unique. It's special. And they're like, it's special, all right. That we were supposed to draw a picture of our favorite movie, like a scene from our favorite movie. And that's what they called my parents about. So it was like, if anybody hasn't seen or listened to our episode of The Ring, how the teacher calls Naomi Watts about her freak show son who had like Lloyd Christmas, like really bad bangs about her.
You are obsessed with kids' hair, by the way. Dude, you are obsessed. It is getting weird. I think the audience is even a little like, you do notice kids' hair way too much.
Listen, I can give you a whole list of children who I think are very, very hot, but trust me, you're not going to
save that for Adderall and compliments. Jeff, that sounds
none
like
of the things I order on Wayfair.
Jeff Epstein would love, because you and Jeff Epstein could talk about his pube shots all day long. Which, by the way, this originally was going to be a Lindsay Lohan holiday movie, but she's like, I promised Jeff. Jeff made me promise that we would cover that movie.
Well, also originally, okay, I'm going to put hot children. I'm going to pin that for a second. And in the
FBI, if you're listening,
No,
we're going to put a pin into your investigation of Annabelle. We're going to go to another topic right now.
Well, no, I was going to say was originally, well, like we should have just done the Lindsay Lohan movie, because when Jeff and I even tried to do the Lohan Garcelle horror movie, I Know Who Killed Me, where Lindsay Lohan has a twin and she knows who like somebody's killing her, like she's killing herself. But it's
Annabelle, I'm aware of the movie. Yeah.
You're like, I'm a film buff, remember?
Yeah. No, but I like that it's like such a complicated plot.
We chose to do that, and we pushed it off like literally 5 different days. And like I kept paying like for him to like watch the Amazon rental. And so after pushing it back so many times, I like sign on to it, and I see like Jeff's like has it on in the background. I'm like, oh, were you just like rewatching that part of the movie? And he's like, oh no, I haven't even finished it. And it's like on, and I was like, so I don't even know why I just like, so it would have been fine. But that was, I guess, going to be a second choice, because our first choice was, this was supposed to be what, Ryan? A horror movie recap, because in October.
Okay, well, we did the Ring. Listen, these things take 4 hours, not only to write down all the notes, but then 4 hours to record. And I'm sorry, things are happening in my life. Like there's only so many hours in the day. And like, I never pictured my days filled with taking notes about Kardashians and like all of this stuff. Like, it's like, I don't even, if you look at my notes, nothing's spelled correctly, which by the way, I wanted to mention.
Maybe you should have gone to Montessori school.
Maybe I would have, but I actually was at a normal brain. So this time, you guys, I type in, you've got mail script. And I'm like, okay, cool. And they have one. So I say, I'll just follow along this script to the movie and then make my notes. Turns out that You've Got Mail script, you guys, has so many subplots that never made the movie. There's a rooftop killer subplot that somebody's killing people on roofs. And there's one scene in this where you'll see them open a newspaper and the front of it says rooftop killer strikes again. That was a whole fucking subplot. Also, there's a whole nother subplot in this movie where there's a J.D. Salinger-esque character that loves the children's bookstore and tries to like help Meg Ryan. Like there are so many subplots that got cut out of this movie, and it is still a 2-hour movie.
Salinger? Like I know his name. Wait, was he? No, he's not the Catcher in the Rye guy, right?
No, he wrote The Firm and The Pelican Brief.
Okay, so okay.
No, I'm joking. That's John Grisham. He wrote A Catcher in the Rye. Yeah. So, but John
Grisham writes all those like dad airport books, right? No, that's Tom Clancy.
They're all this. The Firm, The Client, The Pelican Brief, The Lawyer. He writes all the law books, and then there was Tom Clancy wrote all the submarine like military geek books. J.D. Salinger, though, was a reclusive guy that wrote like 5 books. The guy that killed John Lennon had a copy of A Catcher in the Rye with him when he killed John Lennon. And it was one of those things that J.D. Salinger became really reclusive because he realized his writing was potentially not doing good things to humanity.
Wait, he felt. So I was correct that
you were correct.
Oh my God. Yay. Okay. Yeah. I was okay.
Yay, Montessori.
Yay. See, when we went on the Rachel O'Brien and Jacqueline took me for my birthday one year in LA to because I'm like super into ghosts and aliens and stuff. They took me on like a murder tour of LA, which we thought would be much more.
Dearly Departed. Was it Dearly Departed?
Was the guy obsessed with vanity license plates? Because if so, yes, then that's it. The guy
I've done that tour.
Who was our tour guide and also the bus driver, like pulled off 8 different times in Los Angeles traffic. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And would get out like this telescopic fucking like paparazzi camera. And he's like, sorry, I just have a thing for vanity license plates. And like everyone's like honking at us. And I'm like, how many fucking pictures do you need of a license plate? It's not like it's even moving. These are like unparked cars. But anyway, the thing was he said stuff about different murders. And he's like, and they had a copy of Catcher in the Rye. And they had a copy of Catcher in the Rye and blah, blah. And he was like, what do all of these like killers have in common? And I was like, they were all white and straight guys. And he's like, well, no, they all had copies of Catcher in the Rye. I was like, but were they all white and straight? And he's like, well, that's not the point. That's the same. And I'm like, that okay. So that's
I am, you know what? I just gotta say this. It's fun. I am so, us white straight men, we've had it so rough. And like that kind of stuff that you just said hurts us so much.
It puts you
back. Because it really it takes us back to the Stone Age. No, I do want to say, though, I took that tour, the Dearly Departed tour, and they would take a break, you guys, of showing you where famous people were murdered. And the break spot was at the bathroom in Beverly Hills, the public bathroom where George Michael got arrested for trying to have sex with a cop in a bathroom, which is complete bullshit, by the way. I'm a huge George Michael fan. Rest in peace. I'm not even joking. But that was the bathroom where he got arrested, where, guys in Beverly Hills, like, you put your foot under the stall or whatever, and that says you're good to go. And then George Michael was doing what any gay man in a bathroom does, and undercover cop was there because they knew that bathroom was a bathroom that had gay activity, and he got busted by this gay cop, this cop that tried to flirt with him, and then George flirted back, and then they arrested George Michael. But anyways,
so
I have a
horrible.
I have a fun picture of me in that bathroom because that's a piece of history.
You're like, it was after I got done,
No, yeah.
That's good, but
no, I mean, listen, I my best friend's gay, so
fucking horrible.
Well, it's horrible because gay men.
I'm sorry, that's horrible.
Well, also in the gay community, like random hookups are not. It's more of a common thing men kind of know what men want.
And isn't that like one of the listen, so many parts about gay people's lives are like so much harder and awful. Like they have to go through like way more things. It's like, then just like let them hook up. I know. I feel like that's like one of the
let
things.
them do whatever they want to. Which, by the way, that's the whole point of this. As long as
they're not having sex with like a floppy haired kid, at least have sex with a hot normal haired kid.
Well, that's where the problem comes in, is when you're having sex with the kids. But that's really, you've got mail. That's really what it's all about, is letting people do what they want to do online, right? Like that's the whole thing. Was online, you have this new world wide web, this internet. So that was one thing I wanted to tell you about the internet, was that I would go into these chat rooms as like Titanic.
I can't believe it's Titanic.
The other thing though.
Go.
No, the other thing was, if you guys remember, if you're old enough to remember, they would put these AOL startup discs in every newspaper. They would mail them to you. They wanted you to get AOL so badly. So you would get 40 free hours of AOL if you put it into your hard drive, and it would like, and all the sounds of like, it was like you would to go online. It was like a slow process. It was like while it's dialing up the number, and then you're like, welcome. You see the
guy running. There
the
were
little guy,
the
little yellow. It's like, and then that's where this title comes from, because you would open it up to your AOL mail and it'd be like, you've got mail. But the other thing was, and this is just me being completely honest with you guys, I was 13 years old, and it was the first chance on the World Wide Web, through these AOL forums, you could get your hands on nude pictures. Okay. Like of girls and stuff. Like, so we're talking boobs, we're talking butts, the whole thing. But the slow internet speed, like imagine a kid, you're like just I don't know if women go through this too. Like you're all horned up and you click on a picture and you're like, oh, what's this picture going to be? And then it would like start slowly processing pixels, and it'd be like, duh. And then you're like, wait, okay, you're like, okay, there's hair on the head. There's a head. Oh my God, there's the neck. And then you're like waiting for the boob, but you're also listening for your parents in the other room to like can't walk in before. And then to get one nude picture would take like an hour and a half. And you would have to really want it, but at the same time, there was nothing else around like it. Like you couldn't go buy Playboys. You couldn't go buy, like I couldn't go into any.
Trust me, I wanted to hang out with that girl, like with the pubes jean shorts, like a lot more, but she was busy.
No, I believe me. I'm very, very shy. So like, this was my chance to see nudity, because my parents wouldn't let me have Cinemax or anything like that. And so like, you would have the one picture, and then it was like, okay, cool. got the one picture. We didn't have a printer or anything. So like you'd have to just you'd have to, like in the olden days with the caveman, you'd have to memorize that picture. And you'd be like, okay, put that in your memory. Like that's where the boob is. And that's where these weren't even sex shots. These were like boob. And which by the way,
did you do like a Jack? Like, did you like try to like sketch the naked girl into your like RP? So
it's like, oh, yeah, I was picturing, draw me like one of your French girls, Ryan, please.
Draw me like one of your pixel girls.
Yeah. So then, wait, I told you that one story about the airport when I was 13, right? About the Playboy.
No.
Okay, this is so not You Got Mail, but this is one of our podcasts. This is what usually happens. So just deal with it. So my parents, we took a family vacation to Hawaii, right? Okay. And we had it was a fine vacation. It was fine, like whatever. It was like really nice, like I like my parents a lot, but we had a layover in Texas. And I remember my parents would be like, okay, well, you can walk around, and you'd go to the bookstore, right? Or like the Hudson News thing. And back in the day, they would have like Playboys and all that stuff, and I was like, I'm going to try to get a Playboy. And I was like, I wonder how. I'm like, I'm 13, but I think my mom says that I look like a big boy, so I'm like, maybe. And I remember I was, for some reason, and this is like still me to this day, I think I was wearing some kind of sport coat for some reason. Like, I don't know why. I was dressed very nicely. So I was like, this kind of looks like I'm a businessman, I think. And I was like 13 or something like that. And so I have this Playboy, and I am nervous as all hell, but I'm like, okay, let's just do this. Let's see what happens. And I go up to the counter, and it's like this older lady, and I'm like, okay. And I literally go, oh, it's a nice day out there, ain't it? Like, I do a Southern accent.
Did you think that would make you look older? Or
yeah, I just thought also like, well, yeah, like I thought like an accent was like, oh man, what a hot day out there today. And she's like, yeah. I was like, and then I realized the transaction was happening. So then I was like, and like I have my little boy wallet with the Velcro on it.
I was gonna say,
like a businessman with his Velcro wallet. Like I'm like opening up the money that I didn't spend on my Hawaii vacation with my parents. And then I'm like, fuck, I got a Playboy magazine. And I then had to run, like I had to put it in my pants. I remember this, and then grab my backpack, go to the bathroom, put it in the backpack. And then I had it the whole plane. And I knew I had a little piece of gold in my backpack ready for me to really just abuse myself with when I got home from the vacation. Like
having a bomb. You had a sex bomb in your
not a sex bomb. I had a treasure. Like this was like a treasure. And I've had an extreme addiction to porn ever since.
Do you remember who was the person on the cover?
Okay, can I tell you that I remember?
God, wouldn't it be like amazing? It would be like
it was something to do with Jack. It was somebody that had hooked up with Jack Nicholson, because I remember I think it was 1988 or something, 89, and it was like Batman was right around that time, and he played the Joker, and I was a huge Batman geek. And I remember the because I read it for the articles, I did read the magazine as well. The article said something about that Jack Nicholson was a fun lover, and that they played, like he had like a ping pong paddle and would spank her with it, and that they ate peanut butter off each other's bodies. And I was like, oh, I love eating. And but I remember this. So I don't know who it was, but it was somebody that had hooked up with Jack Nicholson. And
Sonia Morgan, didn't she say she hooked up?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, but it wasn't Sonia Morgan. That would.
But I would love. It would be like a real like sliding doors like moment, like or like serendipity. Like I would have loved it if like Rinna had been on it. That it like if it had been like her Playboy.
Oh, don't no stop! Like, you're ruining nudity
like
for
that.
Me.
You
Please
didn't
stop.
know who it was then. That she would have such like an influential part in your heart, in your mind, and
I really just legitimately feel like I'm going to throw up in my mouth. Lisa Rinna naked just sounds so. But anyways, I do remember even as 13-year-old going.
How long did you have it? Like, did they ever find it? Because I assume you guys were sharing a room, right?
No, because this was on the way home from vacation. This
Oh,
wasn't, no, I would have never done it on the way there. That's too, I'd get caught. I had it on the way home. But
oh,
I do remember being disappointed because I wasn't into the girl that was in the centerfold. I was like, well, I don't think and I love when you're 13 years old, you're picky. This is not exactly my type. Like, I guess there's boobs, but it's like, I don't know. Like, it's not
I
my
give her like
type.
a 6. Like, I don't know.
By the way, this has gone so wildly off track. All right. And by the way, okay, as a girl, Annabelle, is it all right if you're a boy, like, is it all right?
You're not, if you don't have floppy hair or whatever you're about to say, then
But is it all right to, like, as a kid, was that like sick that I got a Playboy? Like, does that make me a pervert? Does that make me like somebody that like,
that's super, super normal. Like, I wanted to, like, I remember my friend, like, she said that her dad had Playboys, and that because like I always wanted to see them, because like I always thought the girls like were so beautiful. So I was always so like, I really wanted to see them. And like, I was like very disappointed that I never got to, but like, I was like some of your baddies, like if you know, like there's this makeup artist named Alexis Vogel, and she like came up with this like makeup kit that you could like buy on TV. But like she did all of like the Playmates and stuff. But like, I always thought that they were so gorgeous that it's like, if I could have gotten a Playboy, oh, I absolutely would have. 100%.
Okay. Well, I mean, I mean, it was like, you're definitely, there's this curiosity when you're a kid, and there is something really like, oh my God, it's like, but then I remember also going to Catholic Mass and being very guilt-filled about having a Playboy. Like, I remember feeling guilty that I was attracted to a naked body. Like, that was really, and I
thought you were going to say that I was cheating on the priest, that I was like attracted to.
No, I wish, dude. And that whole Catholic thing with the priest, if shit was going down, it wasn't going down with me, because none of those guys ever made a move at me. And I was like dropping quarters right and left, bending down. Nobody, I didn't get invited.
Like, I don't want to hang out with Ryan Bailey 52. Yeah. Oh, that fucking theater dork's always trying to do
I was like, what are you priests doing? What are you priests doing this weekend? What's going on? Like, I didn't get invited to the pool parties. No, but
they're like, he's eating all of the wafers. Just cut him off.
This kid sneak. I did eat more than I did. I loved those wafers, and I'm not going to apologize. I really did love the taste of the wafers and the Catholic Mass. No, the other thing was Bill Bailey. You were saying Playboys. The reason why I think I was so like already aware of Playboy was because my dad had a subscription to Playboy, right?
Bill.
And so, yes. So he had, and it was in his office, above, in his closet above, like, you know, where you'd put the clothes. He had stacks of Playboy magazine, and my babysitter, Jimmy Bohr, who my parents are still friends with, his parents, just saw him a year ago. He was my babysitter, and he would lock me in a bathroom until I told him where my dad's Playboys were. And he would it was like, I lived in fear of Jimmy Bohr. Like, he was like, tell me where they are. And like, I was like, yeah,
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh God.
Okay. So, but this is the thing is, once I got to the age where I was like, oh my God, my dad has Playboys. I think my mom, like, I don't know if moms can smell it on boys as they're starting to turn and, you know, hormonally. She said to my dad, she's like, Bill, you have to get rid of your Playboy collection. And I don't remember, we got to ask my dad. I wish I could pull my dad up right now and ask him about this. So I remember my dad was a traveling salesman.
I was just texting with him like an
hour,
I'm
sure. So he was asking for nudes. Yeah. My dad was a traveling salesman. So I don't know if my dad agreed to it or my mom just did it, but this is a dark story. This is Olathe, Kansas, and you'd have these long driveways. And I remember loading up my dad's Playboy collection into my Radio Flyer red wagon with my mom and rolling it to the end of the street where the garbage was. I swear, I shit you not. And so the garbage, it wasn't even in cans. You would just put bags out. And so they were all in a bag and under this. And then I tipped Jimmy Bohr off that my dad threw away his Playboys, and Jimmy got all of my dad's Playboys.
Wow. That is quite the kind of like Ocean's 11 of like, I'm dropping the bag. Yes, here is this trash bag. It's being picked up by a trash man. And then, wow.
Yeah.
And a
By the way,
did he ever like, did he cut you like aside? Did he like give you a few
no, like he did. Well, he didn't put my arm behind my back like he used to. He would be like, I'd be like,
what a psychopath.
Oh, it was scary as hell.
I like that you're like still in touch. Last year.
No. I didn't talk. I did not Jimmy. The parents were great. And this is just,
where is Jimmy now? Where is he buried, or what prison is he at?
I think he's in Florida, which kind of.
That's perfect.
No,
that's actually.
By the way,
I say that if anybody's in Florida.
Okay.
I grew up in Florida. So I can say that.
Missy Bohr was his sister, and she was also one of our babysitters, but she was the nice babysitter. But I will tell you this, when I was like 11, when she was babysitting me, she went to the bathroom, and I didn't know anything about girls, you know, and this is trigger warning for, you know, girls that don't know how bodies work.
Oh my God. Did you spy on her? Did you Aaron Andrews her?
No, nothing. Oh. There was no attraction. I'm saying I went to the bathroom after her, and there was like this like thing of blood at the bottom of the toilet. And I was like, oh my God. Like I thought Missy was dying, and I didn't realize that was a period like that women have do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's the ones that you guys have every month. And I guess like sometimes there's like, is there like a floater left behind or something like that? Or she must not have flushed. She must not have flushed well enough. And so then I remember like that. I mean, speaking of the ring, that it was a really, really big moment, because that was really scary as 11-year-old. I didn't know what that was at all. Like, imagine, like, I just thought that was blood in the toilet. And then Missy acted like fine. And like, so I was like, I guess she's okay, but I didn't bring that up. But it's, you know, those vivid memories you have of like just specific memories. By the way, these are all scenes in You've Got Mail. So it's normal.
Yeah, these are all cut. If you
read the original script
and want to look up the script like Ryan did, it's all there. They just listen. It's a 2-hour movie. This movie is 2 fucking hours.
Okay, well, we're an hour in, which is usually where we start the movie.
No, that's perfect. But no, that's I can't imagine like being like a little boy and like be like, because that would be alarming, right? Like somebody's bleeding and then they seem okay, but there's like blood left over in the that would be.
Honestly, I don't know. Like I've always said this, I don't know how you girls do any of it. Like it's all seems like fucking painful. Fucking, you have to like
expensive.
Birth us. You have to. I mean, like, you have to then buy stuff to like make yourself like look like to keep up with the Joneses. But also your body.
There's a tax on it. There's a luxury tax. Because like
I got my flu shot and my booster shot at the same day the other day. And guys, don't do any anti-vax shit on me right now. But like I was sick.
Listen, guys, Bill Gates is already monitoring him. He has enough going on.
Could you imagine?
Don't come at him.
Bill Gates.
That was what was honestly. Now that you say that, that's I think what was interfering with our signal. Your microchip is activated.
Bill Gates is like, no. Give him full internet signal. We're gonna want to hear this. Like, by the way, can you imagine if Bill Gates really is implanting things in us? How fucking bored he'd be. Like, and also I was talking about this with my trainer the other day. He's like, yeah, man, like. We all are carrying around tracking devices every day. Just track us with our phones. And I'm like, yeah, that's what they do. It's like you fucking like the fucking if they're putting shit in me, like bad, like put it into a better shaped like person, like somebody more in shape that you can like, because if you're trying to turn us into killer robot people, don't pick me. My knee hurts all the time. I'm not going to be able to do shit if you come for me. Annabelle knows how to ride horses, like kind of, but like how. I mean, like, but how are horses going to even come in at the end of like, I mean, I guess if they do another January 6th, I guess they're expecting you to like, you'll get a signal where you get on your horse and you're like, ride, Loki, ride.
Yeah, the cavalry. I mean, there are people who are creating their own militia. They were the first war horses. Okay. This will be okay. Something that nobody cares about. Riding with the horses. No, there's something nobody cares about. No. We're all it's like Pocahontas, like we're all connected in a circle in a hoop that never ends. Like circles become circles. So horses, going back from like horses and blood, and kids, and disturbing kids. My parents were called because I made such a bloody drawing of my favorite scene from a movie that they were because I drew so much blood.
Is this recently? When is this?
No, this was in Montessori school.
Oh, I thought this was at your job that you always talk about. Okay, this is at the Montessori school.
No, but in my job, if you wanted me to, I did have an embarrassing thing about sexy children, if you'd like me.
I'm sure. Annabelle, we've gotten some alarming messages from a lot of the parents at shop here. If you could just not stare directly at the children, it's causing a lot of harm for people.
I was like, I said it as like a joke, not that, but I realized when I looked around and I saw how it come, because they were saying something like, oh, our algorithm's off, or something like said, we were having like a bunch of like clicks going to the website, but then like there were like more views on the website than like people like buying stuff from it. And then they had like Google Analytics or something. And it was because they had like the words like girth and leather and like
at your job,
and like, oh, because like we saw like also like kids clothes. So like there were like a bunch of like leather kids, like a bunch of like horrible searches or whatever. And so they're like, so that's why we're getting, because it was like if you typed in those words or whatever, this would like come up, like our thing would come up.
Wait, you're talking about your job right now, not the Montessori thing.
No,
okay, this is a separate.
The Montessori. No, they just called my parents because I drew a picture of Braveheart, because that was my favorite movie. And that there was so much blood on it that's why they called my parents, because they were alarmed.
Annabelle, who for like the fact that because Braveheart's an actually kind of intense, in-depth movie about history and all that stuff. You've gone on record to say you love like that Jamie Kennedy, Malibu's Best Detective. You're like a Joe Dirt kind of movie girl. But then Braveheart is like one that you were obsessed with. Also, why didn't we fucking hear this story on The Ring when that kid's drawing all those drawings? You didn't think about this story on that recap?
I was just concentrating on his hair. That's how much it upsets me.
I think you're making up this story. I think this is a made up story.
I feel like I've told this, and maybe that's why I didn't tell it, because like I feel like people are like, yeah, the 10 people who listen to me, they're like, listen, like we've heard this 5 billion times. No, but like I have said this multiple times on my because that was my all-time favorite movie. Like I absolutely loved it. And
what's your favorite line from Braveheart? When he's like, I'm Braveheart.
Yeah, that's when he goes, I'm Braveheart. So it's almost like you saw my drawing.
Yeah.
No, and when he tells her when he says like I love you, I always have, because like when she gives him, did you ever see it?
Yeah, I've seen Braveheart. Yes. Okay,
but when she gives like the little girl, like when he's like at his dad's funeral, like his dad and his brother have died, and so this like
spoiler alert, you guys. Sorry about this.
Kid, like he's a little kid, and then this like little girl like picks like a Scottish thistle, and it's a purple flower, and she hands it to him. And then when he comes back to the town, and he's like super hot in his 20s, and like Mel Gibson before we knew what he was or who he was, he like falls in love with her, and after their first date he like hands her this like handkerchief, and she opens it, or like this little piece of cloth, and she opens it, and it's the thistle that he had given, like that she had given him at the funeral, and he had kept it all of this time. And so when he like proposed to her, he's like, I love you, I always have.
Annabelle, can I say that you've just described that scene from that movie better than any of our recaps of any other movie you've ever done? Fuck, we should be recapping Braveheart. My God. Like the way you describe, I was emotionally taken in. I'm sure the audience was like, what a clear sentence Annabelle is saying. I can totally picture exactly that story. Who knew she had that in her? I'm literally shocked right now.
I'm telling you, I'm cerebral. You don't get it.
Cerebral, yeah. The fact that you even knew what a thistle was, shocking. Holy shit! I mean, what a gift you have. Was also, I mean, but I just don't get where that Annabelle went though, because you can't like that's what you described is a romantic scene in a movie, but Sleepless in Seattle, which is a very romantic movie, you don't have time for.
No. Oh, you know what? he doesn't have time for baddies. You know what? How this was originally supposed to be a horror movie. What we were
you already did the Lindsay Lohan story.
Was Scream. Ryan would not watch it. We were not going to do Scream, even though that was like a suggestion by a lot of people. And because I was like, well, that makes sense. And Ryan said like his I guess
I love Scream.
I guess Ryan's an actor and he's like a teacher and like whatever. Who knows? Like who's to say? You know, like whatever he says, like it's fine. Whatever he says. Yeah. And so he's like, well, it's already meta and like all these like official like script and Hollywood, you know.
It is. It's like it's hard to make fun of some
weird libtard words of like, oh, it's meta, blah blah blah.
It's hard to make fun of something that makes fun of itself.
And I'm already. Like, but also it's like I can agree. It's like that the scariest part of Scream is how giant Jamie Kennedy's cock is. And like that's why Ryan would not recap it is because
you guys know that, and we've talked about this many times, Annabelle and Jamie Kennedy came close to making love one time. And they did have a flirtation. This is not even a joke. They did have a flirtation at one point, and Jamie Kennedy supposedly has a huge Pete Davidson dong, and that's why Jamie Kennedy's like he's probably livid nowadays because he's like I could have been considered Pete Davidson if I was younger. I'm fucking weird looking too with a huge dong, like he's like I opened the doors for people like Pete Davidson, and now my dong doesn't get now it's just a creepy old big dong, you know.
His dog probably literally could have opened doors. It was giant. It scared me.
Okay, you guys.
He's like, "Do you want to have?" And I'm like, "Oh no!" Like it scared me. Like it's.
Wait.
It terrified me.
I once, yeah.
Because I literally asked him, I was like, "How did you not kill Jennifer Love Hewitt?" Because this was like, because they were engaged. I thought they were like the cutest couple ever, and then they broke up.
The slasher movie was just Jamie Kennedy's dong.
Literally, like I would not be. I would.
But do you know how fucking proud I would be to walk around with like a gigantic
after being fucked by Jamie Kennedy?
No, like a gigantic lumberjack dong. Like, do you know if I walked like if I ever caused anyone pain with my dong, I think I would be like, wow, look at me. I don't mean that. Wait, I don't mean. I mean, consensually caused pain. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and I mean, definitely like consensually like caused like pain to multiple women. I think obviously more like mentally, emotionally, but which is way more expensive pain. That's a pain that like you can take Advil and like, you may sit on like a foam donut for a little bit like, if you have sex with Jamie Kennedy. But like emotional.
Wait, by the way, can you imagine the shame? Can you imagine the shame back in the day? Because they were like Annabelle and Jamie. It was before Amazon, so you would have to go and buy that foam pillow to sit on at an actual store. You couldn't order that on Amazon like you can now. So Annabelle would have to go to a store and go, "My tushy hurts. Do you have anything that I could sit on that will make my Jamie Kennedy dong?"
Honestly, as I was talking, it was like during this, like my like job. I really do think blowing him contributed to my TMJ. Like I often think that of like
maybe. By the way, maybe our Zoom wasn't maybe
for all of my.
Maybe our Zoom wasn't freezing earlier. Is this your TMJ just locking? Okay. Guys, are you enjoying the recap of You've Got Mail so far? It is a 1998 American romantic comedy film directed by Nora Ephron, starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. And I will say this, Meg Ryan, and I want to be very careful how I word this, and I want to, if you're a fan, if you're an older age, you remember Meg Ryan as being one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood and quirky and funny. And like You've Got Mail, I think is like one of the peak where she's just so quirky, beautiful, hot. And then do you guys remember when she started fucking with her face? Do you remember that? And like now Meg Ryan, if you look at it, like she's finally, everything's come. It was like she Courtney Coxed herself. And it was like that time where we didn't know, like this is pre-Kardashian and stuff, but also Meg Ryan's romantic life, which I know this isn't usually like a Beyond the Blinds kind of podcast, but is fascinating to look into because remember, she was married to Dennis. she was married to Dennis Quaid, and they had the actor Jack Quaid, who I really like. But then Proof of Life came out, which is a movie with her and Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe threw everything away and said, I love you, and broke up the relationship between her and Dennis Quaid. People don't. So Tom Hanks was always like this, like, oh, these cute romantic, like A-lister stars. But Tom Hanks didn't have the, well, I mean, Beyond the Blinds, I think, just did an episode about Tom Hanks, and we don't do Tom Hanks hate here. But I will say,
oh no.
well, yeah, but then Meg Ryan, you know, the Russell Crowe thing goes away. She dates Freddie Mellencamp's dad, John Mellencamp. And they got engaged, you guys. And there was always a rumor that Tom Hanks was going to officiate John Mellencamp, Freddie Mellencamp's dad, the songwriter, singer, and Meg Ryan. But they now have, like, they broke up. They broke up. They got back together, John Mellencamp and Meg Ryan. I'm making none of this up. And now John Mellencamp is with one of Freddie Mellencamp's friends, this 41-year-old. That just got announced this week. She just said, yeah, by the way, Freddie Mellencamp put out to the press that she introduced her dad to one of her friends. Like, how much do you need attention that you're like, guess what, you guys? I introduced one of my friends to my older dad, singer-songwriter John Mellencamp.
I remember one time this was when she was like on the show.
What show was she on?
So she like played like a friend of kind, you know how Carney Wilson kind of like pops in and out of saying like, which I will say Carney Wilson is like the herpes of like entertainment. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but she finds a way to, she has held on. Like she's like, right now she's in like that
the grasp. She's like, she's holding on with dear life. And poor, and you know, she
Beverly Hills, remember she was like on there. This was like when this was like the Munchausen season. And like, it was like Carney Wilson's like dessert party. She was doing like that. Like, do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, of course. Because I was like, of course, I love Carney Wilson, but I will say, Freddie Mellencamp, for having like a #1 podcast, there's such a sense of desperation, and poor Tamara, you know, like I can't imagine the jealousy that Freddie Mellencamp has about Tamara, because Tamara was able to get back on OC. And Freddie's sitting there going, when's it my turn, damn it? Not realizing that it's like, it's only going to happen if Kyle puts her fucking foot down with her Kimosabi hat and says, I'm not filming without Freddie. That's if the Kyle's only way.
Listen, my hands will be up by my face in every shot if you do not hire my friend.
By the way, though, that's what scares me is that Kyle's been on Beverly Hills.
I agree.
Yeah, well, she does. No, Kyle's been there since the beginning. So Kyle kind of does have some power where she does have sway with producers, where I am scared that one day Kyle's like, I won't do the show another season unless Freddie's here to kiss my ass every episode.
I got into fights with Freddie fans because I'm not sure if this was like when she was on the show or like she was like tweeting about it, and I like tweeted back, and like then she had like such a strong like army. I had no idea. But she was saying something of like, I don't rely on my dad, you know, like I don't rely on my dad's fame, and I've built a career for it. It was something about like how that she was insulted that like maybe like Lisa Vanderpump had said something of like a nepotism baby. That's not like what she said, but like along those lines.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've gotten everything I have like myself, blah, blah. And I was just like, then why do you still go by Freddie Mellencamp? Why do you still use
your husband's name?
Then take Eddie, your weird like. I've always said her husband looks like a backup dancer in like Cirque du Soleil. Like you know what he looks like? He looks like when the Backstreet Boys did that Halloween video. Larger than life, or is it like when they were all dressed up? Like he looks like he's about to turn into a vampire at all times. Her husband. No, that's the song. Everybody.
Oh, everybody. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That is, but he looks like that. Anyways, my thing is, John, Bravo, if you're listening to this 4-hour You've Got Mail podcast that we've now got into Beverly Hills.
But we'll just change it to You've Got Mail, and we'll
like
just
John, I don't care.
M-A-L-E.
Guys, if I want to see John Mellencamp, I'll go see him in concert or I'll listen to his music. I don't need to see him on Beverly Hills. It's not going to main a hill. By the way, but Kyle is such a like she gets such a boner from anything from the 90s. Like it's like Culture Club with Boy George, Melissa Etheridge. She literally fucking squirted during Melissa Etheridge, like that girl on Winter House this week. And like anybody, you bring any, like if fucking Kyle meets Cyndi Lauper, everything's gonna be done. Like, oh my God. It's the only way. Anyways, okay. So this film written by
tell me before we go into it, can I pee?
Yeah, go pee. Okay, Annabelle just went and pissed, and we're back with.
Say it like that. No, that's.
Sorry, Annabelle went and pee-peed, and now, or was it poo? I mean, it could have been either. I'm so sorry.
Ryan!
Well, I don't. You said I was saying something wrong, so I wanted to be honest with the audience.
No, it's just like so like aggressive, but no, like girls don't even do that.
No, girls. Okay,
girls do not. I'm not even the word.
You guys, this was written by Nora Ephron and her sister Delia Ephron. Okay. And also I want to thank Annabelle because finally we're doing a movie that I don't have to pay $20 for. This was on HBO Max. I was like, oh, how much do I have to spend to watch You've Got Mail? This was on HBO Max.
Oh my God. Okay. I will say, you know what? Like Nancy was like, she's like, I will say Ryan complains about the price of the movies a lot. I'm like, I know.
I'm not made of money. Like, listen, I don't have kids.
For like I don't half of them. We're like,
I don't have kids. Nobody's going to take care of me when I'm older. I have to start as I get older. I'm really worried about that. Okay. So you guys, this movie opens with computer sounds and we hear like, and we're like cyberspace, right? Like we see all like kind of cyberspace and we realize, but then
Xenon girl from the 21st century, like this different, like I didn't realize that the opening of the movie was like, or the opening credits were definitely different than what I had imagined. They look like bad, like if you had like intro, like freshman of like web or like sim web design. Like, did you ever
it's bad computer graphics, you guys. It's computer graphics, but at the time, this was like, wow, cyberspace. Like this was so like we are hurtling through, and then we start seeing like kind of like a computerized version of the New York City skyline. We move over Central Park. It's fall, and the leaves are glorious reds and yellows. And we reach the west side of Manhattan. We move swiftly down Broadway with its stores and gyms and movie theaters and turn onto the street in the West 80s. And we hold on a New York brownstone. And then this is when the rectangle starts to fill in with color. And we see like everything coming to life from the computer imagery. And we are at Kathleen Kelly's apartment. Now, Kathleen Kelly is played by Meg Ryan, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So Frank is her boyfriend in this movie, played by the one and only Greg Kinnear. I love Greg Kinnear. What do you think about Greg Kinnear?
Who doesn't? He is a national treasure.
But I feel like he was at the precipice of something amazing, and then it kind of remember like when you were a kid? Did you ever watch him on Talk Soup on E?
No, but I remember, like, I knew that he was like a host of it, but no, like my generation grew up with Joel McHale as the host of E.
Yeah. So you guys, Joel McHale was amazing at Talk Soup, but before that, it was the guy with the white hair.
With like our it was called The Soup. It was not.
The Soup. Sorry, The Soup. Yes, sorry.
But
Soup.
like no, but when you grew up, it was called Talk Soup.
But Greg Kinnear was like he turned into a star from that because he was so fucking funny, and he would make fun of like clips of all the shows that we used to watch. And then Joel McHale did that just as good, and they both got careers from this. But it turns out
to say on the side that E ended when The Soup did. Like this, it never came back. Like the E was like done for me after The Soup ended. That was just
for you, but yeah. But Greg Kinnear can actually act. He did a bunch of acting roles, and this is one of them where he plays a reporter, and Kathleen is played, like I said, by Meg Ryan. He's like, hey, listen to this. The entire workforce of the state of Virginia had to move solitaire, had to get solitaire removed from their computers because they haven't done any work in 6 weeks. And, that's just cluing us into the future, you guys, that the internet is taking over our brains because this workforce was playing solitaire. And I was like, Greg, you don't even know what it's gotten to now.
He said, well, the fact that he thought solitaire when he was like, this is going to be the downfall of civilization.
I was like, Elon Musk needs to watch fucking You've Got Mail. Like that.
And I was just like, notice that they didn't say Minesweeper. Because that was like the only games that were like on the computer, like were like Minesweeper and Solitaire. And like, I don't know how to play any like card games. I don't even know how to do it on the computer.
They didn't have a scene in Braveheart about card games that you could play?
They should have, and then I would have known. One of the most romantic movies ever, I will say. So
anyways, he says, and
yeah.
I think this is the theme of the whole movie. If you want, I mean, the theme of the whole movie is something different in their eyes, but in our eyes, in the year 2022, Frank goes, you think that machine is your friend, but it's not, about the computer. And he nailed, like, right out of the gate. We could stop this recap right here because that's what it is. You think that machine's your friend, but it's not. So Meg Ryan does. This is what in the 90s, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan are both good at this. They're both great at filling space with no dialogue and just being cutesy. So he leaves and she does this cute little dance around the apartment and she's like being cute, and like none of us, like we could not, like when I dance around a play, like it's like, fuck, it's stupid. You would worry about, you think he's having a seizure, but like Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks have this gift that they can make non-dialogue scenes with just themselves, nobody else in it. They can make, because basically this whole movie, you're having to watch them type by themselves and make faces like, Annabelle, how are you doing today? And like, but they make it interesting. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they can do that. It's a gift.
Tom Hanks makes this movie. If you replaced him like typing at like the keyboard with like Paul Giamatti, he'd be a fucking monster. Like, honestly, if you just replace because if you just went by the character, like the character lines, you hadn't seen this movie yet. Like, this was just on paper of what you were saying. Then, like, wow, this guy's a real fucking dickhole.
Yes.
Like, this Jared Kushner,
yes.
like, fucking, like, trust fund baby, like, who's horrible. You'd be like, this
but
is
it shows you. It shows you
up anything.
Character essence is so important, and that's why they can sell a movie like this. But like, yeah, you put Russell Crowe into this, it would be an intense thriller all of a sudden. It'd be like, oh my God. And Tom Hanks has this, like, but think about you picking up your phone, you guys, when you're texting like, da-da-da, we're not making cutesy. Well, I don't know. What am I doing tonight? Let's read the movies. We don't really do that. We just type and we don't like, but he's making, and Meg Ryan makes all these cutesy faces. Like I just think it's a real talent that is kind of dead in a lot of ways.
Because when we see like Carrie Bradshaw, when she like, I will say, I think Diana from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, like I think that she took her on-screen acting lessons from just watching Sex and the City, because Carrie Bradshaw did so much tongue acting when she would like type. She would just be like, so I wonder if like
I'm doing Carrie Bradshaw acting.
And then that's why I was like, I wonder if that's why, like, I mean, I know we'll get to the Che Diaz of it all, but then I was wondering.
Yes. By the way, guys, Che Diaz is in this movie, and Che Diaz finger blasts Meg Ryan in the hallway of just like she did with.
And I'm like watching this, like they don't, like they're just emailing. I mean, they're acting out like they're fucking like Charlie Chaplin of like, I once saw a butterfly. Like the messages that they're writing to each other, like, are so innocuous and so fucking horrible. But
by the way, if you did this movie in 2022, it would literally be like Tom going, "Show me those titties. What about hey, can I get a nude? Let's see that beef," you know, and Tom Hanks could make that charming, by the way. Wait, what if Chet Hanks does a remake of You've Got Mail? He's like, "You want a dick pic? I want something in return." Like that's what it would be. So anyway, she's
like,
dancing
little shorty around the corner. Here's my dick. Oh, like
Hey, feast your eyes on this. Hey, how do you got? Never mind. Anyways, so she's dancing around the apartment. Frank's gone, and she then logs on to this AOL, like, and it's her thing is called Shop Girl, her name, and the subject line says like, "You've got mail, Brinkley." And we see the logo for America Online comes up, the Shop Girl, like I said, and the computer's like, "Welcome, you've got mail." And Kathleen smiles as her mail page comes up, and we see a list of letters like blah, 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 junk mail, junk mail, junk mail. And then, like I said,
like, yes, that Saudi Arabian prince emailed me. I'm just
yeah.
about to wire him $500.
By the way, I only get like, it's like how, I mean, and I'll still buy it to this day. Every time they say I can increase my penis size, I'm always like, I'm interested. Yes.
You're like, can I take the Jamie Kennedy pill? Absolutely.
So Kathleen starts to read the letter that she got from NY152, which is the other username. And it's like, Kathleen's reading, "Brinkley's my dog. He loves the streets of New York as much as I do." And now we hear Kathleen's voice replaced by the voice of NY52, who's a man named Joe Fox, played by Tom Hanks. And he's like, "Although he likes to eat bits of pizza and bagel off the sidewalk, and I prefer to buy them, Brinkley is a great catcher and was offered a tryout on the Mets farm team." And then we go over to Joe's apartment, Tom Hanks, and this Brinkley dog is just sitting there watching his guy jack off online. And Joe's like, "But he chose to stay with me so that he could spend 18 hours a day sleeping on a large green pillow the size of an inner tomb. Don't you love New York in the fall? It makes me want to buy school supplies. I would send you a bouquet of newly sharpened pencils if I knew your name and address. On the other hand, this not knowing has its charms." And then all of a sudden we see the one and only Parker Posey come into Joe Fox's apartment.
Can you imagine just like thinking of like on the other side of like Paul Giamatti of like, if I knew where you live,
I'd like to jam, Dahmer. I'd like to jam a pencil in your
of Jar's sharpened pencils. Like, number one, pencils fucking suck. Like, pencils are horrible. You'd have to get up in front of your class and go up to that fucking metal tumor sticking out the wall and put your pencil in. That would fucking massacre it. Like, you could stick it in a beaver's mouth and it would come out like more precise. And then like the tip would still be terrible. And it's like, you're like pencil, like boo pencils, like how Greg Kinnear feels about computers.
Did you just say a beaver? Did you say a beaver? Did you write that down or did that just come out of your head?
No, beaver's
mouth.
No, beavers eat. No.
Was that a unique thought, or did you write that down? Was that a bit?
No. I didn't write it down because now I'm thinking of like, oh, is that right? No, woodchucks. No,
woodchucks. Okay. So, anyways,
beavers eat wood, but beavers make tea. Anyway, angry beavers.
Parker Posey, you guys, one of the best actors of our. We all love Parker Posey. She's a weirdo, but we love her. Party Girl is one of my favorite movies ever. And
I'm sorry, Josie and the Pussycats. Her character, flawless.
So Parker Posey, we realize, is with Joe Fox. That's his girlfriend. So now we've really realized, and we've made it cute to cheat on our significant others online. Like, this is what it has done at this point, is like, let us know that these people are both in a online relationship, which destroys lives, you guys. But it's like Greg Kinnear's on one end, Parker Posey's on the other, but it's Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, so it's acceptable because they're so damn cute. And so Parker's like, "Darling," he's like,
they don't share any like personal, they don't even know each other's or like what each other does. There's like no personal information. They met on a chat room, like they met in his chat room. So it's like, at this point, would you like consider like would you just consider this like pen pal, like talking to somebody? Because it's like they don't.
Okay, wait, no. He says bouquet of pencils, which means like roses, which means romantic.
Pencils that are horrible.
No. But I'm saying the whole bit was he's trying to be a cute, witty guy, and he's trying to impress her, and that's what he's saying. So she's late, you guys, because she works at a bookstore Random House, and she's being her funny Parker Posey self, and she's like, "Hey, by the way, Penn dinner tonight." He's like, "Am I going?" She's like, "You promised." And he's like, "Can't I just give him some money? That's my cause. Free Albanian writers. I'm for that." Patricia drains a cup of espresso, looks at him, and kind of humps him. And she's like, "All right, I'll go. You're late." She gets out of there. And then I was like, I realized like this makes online affairs kind of fun. And we hold on Joe, and he's listening as he hears the elevator doors open and close because he's waiting for her to leave. And then he goes back to his laptop and it goes, welcome, you've got mail. And he starts to read the letter and we hear, of course, Meg Ryan's voice. I like to start my notes to you as if we're already in the middle of a conversation. I pretend that we're the oldest and dearest friends, as opposed to what we actually are, people who don't know each other's names and met in a chat room where we both claimed we've never even met before. Will NY152, what will NY152 say today? And we see Joe dressing for work. He's taking the elevator down, but the voiceover continues. And she's like, what will he say today, I wonder? I turn on my computer. I wait impatiently as it boots up. Joe goes out of the building. I go online and my breath catches in my chest until I hear 3 little words. You've got mail. And then all of a sudden, the Cranberry song, all my dreams, you know the song I'm talking about, right? I will say, I asked for this soundtrack. Guys, there used to be compact disc CDs. I asked for this soundtrack for Christmas and I got it. It's a banger. Well, and by the way, Sleepless in Seattle is also a banger of a soundtrack as well. But
nobody's interested in this indie movie you keep talking about, Ryan. Like nobody's in for it.
Okay, but anyways, let me read you what is on the You've Got Mail soundtrack, because this was like Sleep in Seattle. It made you feel cool because it had old songs on it as well as new songs. So you're like, look at me listening to old songs like I know.
Or for you, just songs.
It has the Puppy song by Harry Nilsson, Splish Splash, I Was Taken a Bath by Bobby Darin, Remember by Harry Nilsson, Rockin' Robin by Bobby Day, Dreams by the Cranberries, Dummy song by Louis Armstrong, you're a dummy, I'm Louis Armstrong. You had Dream by Roy Orbison. You had Lonely at the Top by Randy Newman, who does all the Toy Story songs now.
Oh, I fucking hate you got a friend in me. You
got a friend in me.
I hate Randy Newman.
Oh, how dare you? I Guess the Lord Must Be in New York City by Sinead O'Connor. Anyone at All by Carole King. Over the Rainbow by Harry Nilsson, his version.
At least it's not the fat Hawaiian guy ukulele.
Oh, shit.
That's the worst.
You're dead.
That's the worst.
You Made Me Love You by Jimmy Durante. I'm Jimmy Durante. How you doing? And then my favorite bop on this whole soundtrack is Signed, Sealed, and Delivered by Stevie Wonder. It is one of my favorite songs of all time. It is a bop. Do you not love Signed, Sealed, Delivered?
No, I love Stevie Wonder. I know that sounds sarcastic because it's coming out of my mouth with my voice and how I say words, but no, I love Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, but also this song is just bow down, ha!
That was a very good intro. That was like Police Academy guy level intro. That was a very good sound. That was a very good sound effect.
Okay, so Kathleen's voiceover continues. I hear nothing, not even a sound on the street of New York, just the beat of my own heart. I have mail from you. And all of a sudden, an attacker mugs Meg Ryan in the middle of No, so anyways, she's going down Broadway. Through a long lens, we see Joe walking blocks behind her. So they're on literally the same street, you guys. Right now they're on the same street and they've been emailing each other. And it's crazy how small the world is. And Kathleen picks up her coffee. She's walking down Columbus. We see Joe a block behind her still. She stops and buys flowers. And by the way, I'm almost making it sound like Joe's stalking her. Joe doesn't know that that's her. They don't know, you guys. This is just all happening.
There are crazy Joes. Ironically, there are crazy book Joes. There's Joe, Penn Badgley's Joe from Netflix's You. And then there's Joe Fox from You've Got Mail. And at points, I would argue, if it wasn't Tom Hanks and this is Paul Giamatti, I've been Joe Fox from You've Got Mail is the way more disturbed book enthusiast out of the two Joes.
I disagree, but okay. So we then go from Kathleen to Joe, and there's a building under construction, you guys. And here is a big shocker for those of you. Dave Chappelle is he is Tom Hanks's right-hand man, which is funny because this is before like Dave Chappelle was still Dave Chappelle back then, but it's before Chappelle Show and all of that stuff.
And also Tom Hanks isn't trans, so he's like, yeah, I'll be in this.
Yeah, like, hey, I approve of you. No, but like also, they're like, oh, Tom Hanks has a black friend. He's a cool guy. Like that's what they're trying to say here is like Tom Hanks's best friend in this is Dave Chappelle. And
he's also friends with the only black guy in New York City. Did you know that?
Yes, that's
this movie will tell you he's lucky. He's like the only one. Like he got that friendship.
He's trying to tell Dave that he's like, oh man, because Kevin's like the electrical contractor called. His truck hit a deer last night. The shelves are late for the store because the shipment of pine had beetles, and there's some questions about whether we're installing. And Joe's like, that sounds great. And Kevin's like, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. And Joe's like, is the electrician here? And Kevin goes, I just told you he hit a deer. And he goes, I hear nothing, not a sound on the city streets. Just the beat of my own heart. I think that's the way it goes. Something like that. And Dave Chappelle's like, did you and Patricia get engaged? And he's like, engaged? Are you crazy? And Kevin's like, I thought you liked Patricia. I love Patricia. Patricia's amazing. Patricia makes coffee nervous. And then he's like, so obviously he's thinking about Meg Ryan in his head. And he's like, are we still on schedule, Kevin? And Kevin's like, we open 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. And Joe goes, I guess we should announce ourselves soon, tell people we're coming. And Kevin's like, this is the Upper West Side of Manhattan. The minute they hear, they'll be lining up. Joe goes, to Picket. Kevin goes, the big bad. Joe goes, chain store. That destroys everything we hold dear. But we'll seduce them with our square footage and our deep armchairs and our amazingly swift checkout lines and our discount. And then Joe and Kevin both say, cappuccino. And Joe goes, they hate us in the beginning, but we get them in the end. Meanwhile, we should just put up a sign. Coming soon, a Fox Books superstore and the end of Western civilization as we know it. So you guys, that's the whole point. He's opening like a big chain bookstore. This is before Amazon. This is what the double
now
is.
It's like so crazy that it's like now it's like the opposite version. If this was happening now, it would be like save Fox Books around the corner. Like save these independent like
save Barnes and Nobles. Save Barnes and Nobles. Like that's what I'm like.
Like save it from that evil bald man. He's not a nice bald man like Pitbull. Like he's an evil bald man who like is just like who just destroys lives and like takes everything. And this is like our entire globe and like everything is like it's like Google. It's like that is everything that we go to. And now
I also say you're talking about Jeff Bezos. And by the way, I just want to say something controversial, but I don't think so really. There's not a chance in hell that Jeff Bezos is not on steroids. You cannot go from the body that Jeff Bezos used to have to the body that he has now, where he's all like just fucking ripped all the time. And like, I'm sorry. That's like, I talking to my trainer the other day. He's juicing. I'm not even joking.
Oh no. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'm just like, kind of like Jeff Bezos. Why would you bother? Like, if I had like anybody, like I wish I could just eat whatever the fuck I want. Like the thing is, you're Jeff Bezos. You could literally become like a star of like My 600-Pound Life. And guess what? You're still the most powerful man in the world. And everyone wants to fuck you. Like, why would you care about being like, I need to have a great body? I thought like one of the like great things about being rich is like you don't have to have a good body. Like that's what like
well he's with that girl that former news reporter in LA that used to be married to a CAA agent, you guys, which Creative Artist Agency. But if you ever want to have like a little laugh, you can go up and look at their text messages because somebody leaked their text messages. And Jeff Bezos, like my favorite one was he'd be like, tonight, I cannot wait to see you. I just want to get a little drunk, just a little. And he's like, just a little, and just talk with you and look at you. But he keeps going, just a little drunk, just a little. And I was like, gee, and I'm like, by the way, mine's like, I want to get fucking wasted, bro. Okay, anyway, so now the plot of the movie.
If I knew where you lived, I'd deliver a ton of sharpened
I would put a
of sharpened pencils.
I would put a pencil company out of business.
I will
So
kill the rainforest for you. Just
we
kidding.
know what Joe Fox does, but now we follow Kathleen, and she's at a children's bookstore called The Shop Around the Corner. And it's like twinkle lights in the windows, large stuffed animals, reading children's books like Madeline, Goodnight Moon, Where the Wild Things Are. And waiting for Kathleen in front is one of her employees, Christina. And Kathleen and Meg Ryan's like, hello, Christina. It's a beautiful day. Isn't it the most beautiful day, in that cute Meg Ryan way? And Christine looks up at the sky as I've seen her for the first time. She's like, I guess. Yeah, sure.
Christine's like a female Eeyore. Like, I do not like her.
Oh, wow. Women supporting women. And Meg Ryan's like, don't you just love New York in the fall? And they open the store and activate the computer system. And it's just a really charming children's bookstore. And Christina is like, what's going on with you? Because she notices Meg Ryan has a smile. And Kathleen's like, nothing. And Christina goes, you're in love. She goes, in love? No. Yes, of course I am. I'm in love with Frank, which is Greg Kinnear. I'm practically living with Frank. Do you think you could get our Christmas mailers out this week? Blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I'm just going to stand here till you tell me, to Meg Ryan. And there's a beat. And then Meg Ryan goes, is it infidelity if you're involved with someone on email? And Christine's like, have you had sex? She's like, of course not. I don't even know him. I mean, cyber sex. Digital, get down. Just you and me. By the way, Digital Get Down, I've said this many times on this podcast, was really, this should have been on the You've Got Mail soundtrack.
It should. Maybe I would have bought it then.
By the way,
I mean, that is like I said, on like the Ring podcast, like on the Ring podcast, like I guess that is like was my version of like Playboy of like what I could get my hands on, which is like my VHS recording of NSYNC live at Madison Square Garden. Of them, like, I mean, they did their entire No Strings Attached tour. Absolutely. Was that your boner jams? Did it make that was my boner jams of, if you know, like how you can like see like if they had like Spotify back then, or like they had like VHS you record in like in your parents like living room of like your top like 5 videos of like what you watch. It would have just been like over and over. My number one would have been like JC licking the tile floor of like the upshot of like JC like licking the, not like tile, but like there was like a cutout in the stage of like, it was like an upshot, like an upskirt shot, but of like during digital down that like JC like licked, and it was like my pillow was never the same after that.
Oh God.
Like, you know, like that's disgusting, Annabelle.
You just like writhing on a pillow from Walmart or something like that. Like, she's like, I haven't had sex. I don't even know him. And yeah, she's like, I mean, cyber sex. And she goes, no. And then Christina's like, well, don't do it. The minute you do, they lose all respect for you, which is like, oh, poor Christina. She's obviously been in some like hard situations. And by the way, this is like the prediction of like eventual Facebook groups and stuff. Like, this is what we've gotten ourselves into these days. And Kathleen goes, it's not like that. We just email. It's really nothing. On top of which, I definitely think I'm stopping because it's getting, and Christina goes, out of hand. No, it's getting confusing, but not really, because it's nothing. And she goes, where did you meet him? I can't even remember. The day I turned 30, I wandered into the over 30 room online for a joke and he was there and we started chatting.
Get it how funny I am? I miss it. It's hilarious.
But also that's how AOL chat rooms were. Like, you would have like Titanic reenactments, but it was an over 30 room. And she thought this would be just a big kick to go. And by the way, so this Joe guy that is supposed to be this millionaire bookstore guy, he's like in the over 30, like he's like, this will be fun. Like, I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that this dude was just randomly in this over 30. I would love to know his history of the girls he was talking to online before Kathleen, don't you?
Yeah, I would love to know his like stable of girls of like, I have every type of girl. I have shop girl. I have gym girl. I have like a bunch of like, I have airplane girl. Like, how many girls like are on his like roster? Like,
and
probably a lot. And good for him.
The sequel of this movie, if there ever was one, I predict that he has an online addiction and he would not be able to stop because he would want to meet the next girl online. So he already gets Meg
like,
Ryan.
The sequel would be like all the girls coming together and finding like that they're like all coming out like, and then like they all attack Joe at the same time.
No, I'm just thinking, I think this guy has an online addiction that we're not really facing. I think both of them do potentially. But anyways, they start talking about books. She
He's
goes,
doing like a
books.
Hank Basket. Isn't that how Hank Basket, like, and Kendra, like, Wilkinson, like, first broke up? Is he like met like a girl through like
I
YouTube
thought,
comments or something?
well, I thought Hank Bassett was dating like trans.
Oh my God, I called him Hank Basket. Sorry.
Anyways, so they were talking in this over 30 room about books and music and how much we both love New York. It's harmless, meaningless. And then she starts smiling and she goes, bouquets of sharpened pencils. And Christina's like, excuse me? She goes, forget it. We don't talk about anything personal. We make a rule about that. I don't know his name, what he does, or exactly where he lives. So it'll be really easy to stop seeing him because I'm not. And Christina goes, God, he could be the next person to walk into the store. He could be. And then George walks in, played by Steve Zahn, who we love, right?
Oh, like Saving Silverman.
Yeah, but also Reality Bites and like, I mean, he's a very good career. You didn't see Reality Bites? Wow, man. Anyways, George, he's all depressed too, and he's like,
but he's one of those actors, guys. Like, he's one of those actors, baddies and kittens that, like, if you saw him, you're like, oh yeah, I know him.
They know who Steve Zahn is.
It's like Judy Greer. Like, I feel like if this had been made 10 years later, or maybe 15 years later, the girl who would be playing the girl who I don't like, the Eeyore, like the female Eeyore, like she would have been like, this has been 15 years later. She would have been Judy Greer before Judy Greer.
So Christina asked George, are you online? And George is like, as far as I'm concerned, the internet is just another way to be rejected by a woman. And then Birdie, this old
I was like, oh, he's a future incel on Reddit.
Yeah,
he's just baking away.
So Birdie walks in. She's in her 70s, has red hair, and she's the store's oldest employee, having worked there for over 40 years because this was Meg Ryan's mom's store. And Kathleen's like, good morning, Birdie. And she's like, what are we all talking about? And Christina's like, cyber sex. And Birdie goes, I tried to have cyber sex once, but I kept getting a busy signal. And
do you think Birdie's getting paid, or do you think it's more on like a volunteer basis?
I think she's getting paid.
I think she's getting paid, like,
under the table.
I mean, honestly, if Meg, Ryan was smart, she'd be paying her like how they pay like Walmart greeters, where they're like, I'm paying you, and here, Birdie, all the bookmarks you want. Here.
How do they pay Walmart greeters?
They don't. They pay them like literally like the Walton family like barely pays Walmart greeters, and for the most part, Walmart greeters are the elderly. It's adorable.
That's your future.
It's that capitalist.
That is literally your future.
I know. That's why I'm like, look at them. I'm like, see Birdie. I'm like, oh man, if I could reach for the stars, if only my vision board worked, if I could be working at an independent bookstore when I'm 70.
So anyways, they're bitching about online dating as opposed to real dating. We cut to Tom Hanks, and we're with Tom Hanks with his dad, played by the iconic Dabney Coleman. Do you remember Dabney Coleman? Is he 9 to 5, Cloak and Dagger? Obviously, you're gonna say no,
but he's
iconic. He's iconic, you guys. And Tom, this is a very Tom Hanks thing, you guys. He's laying on the couch in this big office of his dad's, and he's doing this bit where he's like trying to get comfy, and he's like, but it's Tom Hanks. So it's like, oh, it's a little Tom Hanks funny bit that is not in the script. But Tom Hanks was like, this scene sucks. I'm going to add a little Tom Hanks to it. And he is like, anyways, they're bitching about that we're gonna take down all those independent bookstores, and we're gonna buy their inventory. Tom Hanks is talking about, we just took down.
They're not bitching about. They're fucking.
They're bragging.
They're doing a family circle jerk. They're doing like flowers in the attic, like fucking incest, like family, like circle jerk over of like. Literally, it's just like because it's the grandpa, the dad, and
three generations, because it's Fox and Sons, and
he's like, so books and such in Connecticut, and like they were saying all these things. He's like, well, they closed down, and they all look at each other, and they're like, and then Tom Hanks does like 2 like gunshots, like pip, like pow, independent bookstores, people's dreams, dead. Like,
and Dabney Coleman goes, West Side liberal nuts. And Tom Hanks goes, readers, Dad. They're called readers. And he's like, don't romanticize them, son. And then they start talking about the shop around the corner, the children's son. And the older dude, Dabney Coleman, but the older dude than that, the other dude, he's like, we might have had a date once, might have written letters. We might have had mail.
About Meg Ryan's mom.
Yeah, it's like, but so instead of the online, it was like, this was just another form of communication, like, like we would write letters. And
he had beautiful penmanship,
yeah.
Which that was like such like a cognitive quality. Like I remember just in middle school, like I would look at these girls, like not only like the ones who were like thin and like I thought were so hot because I was like not thin, but I would look and like I would just be like, oh my God, that girl's penmanship is so good. Like she has like the best handwriting. Like when somebody had like really good like bubble handwriting and like gel pen, I'm like, oh, if only.
Oh, it's like JC Chaze's crotch shot.
Exactly. I'm just like, oh, I wish I could write like that. Ugh.
So anyways, they're making the point that letters used to be the thing and now it's online. So now we interior of Fox Books World. Oh yeah, this was where they're talking. Sorry, I've lost my place here. Yeah, wait, one. Okay, the guys are talking, blah, 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 wrote letters. Computer voice goes, welcome, you've got mail. And we hear Joe, Tom Hanks's voice. He's like, my father's getting married again. For 5 years, he's been living with a woman who studied decorating at Caesar's Palace. And then we hear over on Meg Ryan, you've got mail. And Kathleen looks up from her book as a butterfly flies through the subway car. And she's like, once I read a story about a butterfly in the subway, and today I saw one. I couldn't believe it. It got on at 42nd Street and got off at 59th, where I assume it was going to Bloomingdale's to buy a hat that will turn out to be a mistake, as almost all hats are. So this is the kind of jack-off emails they're writing to each other, thinking they're so fucking smart and like funny and witty and like about butterflies, like actually
and
using
also,
the subway
like, I read
system.
a story about a butterfly in a subway, and then like, see, this is what makes me happy that I don't read. Okay, this is the stuff I'm quote unquote missing out on. Then I'm fine. Then I'm very much like all their stuff is like. Oh, if like now it's like if you read it, like this is all kind of like boring like tweets of like I saw a butterfly today on something like all of them are just kind of like bad like tweet premises almost of like.
Yeah, no, I mean, so we continue on with Joe. He's walking past a bagel store and we still hear the voiceover. This is another one of his witty emails. He goes, did you know that every night a truck pulls up to H&H Bagels and pumps about a ton of flour into the ground? The air is absolutely amazing. What is that? And Joe comes around the corner and sees the dust filling the air. And Kathleen goes, I guess I've read Pride and Prejudice about 200 times. I get lost in the words. And Joe, we see, reads a copy of Pride and Prejudice and he can't stand it. And she goes, every time I read it, I worry that Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy are not going to get together. But the truth is, whenever I think about my favorite book, I always think about the books I read as a child. And it's just super gay, you guys. And it's really bad. Like, honestly, if I was writing to either of them, if like I was like on either side of like the computer and I'd get that, I'd be like, no, nope, like that would be the equivalent of someone who's like, can I tell you more about the Church of Latter-day Christ? And then like, nope, I'm going the Whitney Rose route. No, I have no interest in this whatsoever. I have no interest in this. The Book of Mormon no longer means anything to me.
But I'm like, no, I don't want to hear about your like musings about like, where does the flower go? There's so much flour in the air. It's never on the ground. Where does the flower go? Of like, no,
and she's fine. Like her panties are dripping with this. She's like, oh my God, somebody's talking to me about flour. Like, this is amazing. So then the next day she's going to get coffee and we see a sign that says coming soon, a Fox Books superstore. And then we go to the store and Steve Zahn goes, bummer about Fox Bookstore, but they discount. And she's like, they don't have service like we do. And then we exterior New York Street. George walks along. He sees that. And anyways, Kathleen's like, it has nothing to do with us. It's big, impersonal, overstocked, and full of ignorant salespeople. And that scene, then Kathleen, Meg Ryan, is having lunch with Bertie, the old bag that's worked there for 40 years at Barney Greengrass. And Meg Ryan's like, so really, it's a good development. You know how in the flower district, there are all these flower shops in a row so you can find whatever you want. Well, this is going to be the book district. If you don't have it, we do. And Brittany goes, and vice versa. And then we're at Meg Ryan's apartment and she's standing there.
It's just a fucking children's bookstore. Expand, Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
Like it's just weirdo children's bookstore.
Yeah. By the way, like this is before 50 Shades of Grey. That thing would have knocked those kids back on their coal mining asses. Like